So Alexis Rhodes of Australia getting ever nearer now to that 14.5-kilometre turn as we now sight Whitten. Let's have a look at Whitten.
She must be going quick.
She is going quick. Look at the time for Whitten. We were talking about her early on, this double world track champion, and she's taken 9 seconds off the time of Shaw. So the Canadian Whitten is leading with only 3 more athletes to take the turn at the midway point.
Well, not only was she going good, a quick time there, she actually very quick around the turn, and her aggressive start back up the final straight would indicate that she's got plenty left for the final leg as well.
So Rhodes still on her way out to that far turn, but Whitten, well, superbly impressive. Rhodes here, the Oceania champion, looking into the distance for that 14.5-kilometre point. And then we've got Willemsen chasing her, and then of course the world champion, the last athlete to start. And here is Shaw on her return leg, again freewheeling.
I think she might be struggling a little bit with the heat actually. She's had quite a few breaks now, and you just can't afford to do that at this level. I am surprised. She is used to this this discipline. This is her stock and trade, the time trial. Aerodynamically, she looks in a great position there. But I think we're seeing some fatigue creeping in.
Whitten's time not under pressure by Rhodes, but Hoefnagel's time is. And coming up to the turn here, here it is. Rhodes, well, 4th. Still in the hunt, she's in touch. Working strongly there to just get that gear spinning, as we can see the rider coming down the other side of the road, who started a minute behind her, Linda Willemsen, as we get once again back to Whitten of Canada.
Well, she's settled into this. You can see those gears have come down a little bit, probably about 3 or 4 kilometers an hour slower on the return journey. Aerodynamics very, very important here.
16:48 the time to beat here at the turn. Here comes Willemsen. No, she's not going to do it. So Whitten of Canada, he's the fastest at the midway point with 1 athlete still to come, and that's the world champion Emma Pooley.
Nice turn by Willemsen, but slightly off the pace. And on a course like this, pan flat, small differences, I think are going to stick.
Now then, this is Pooley. Courageous effort by her. There is the running time to beat. Sorry, there is her running time. It's 16:48 the time to beat.
Well, I think she's going to struggle with that.
You're right. I think
Whitten to the turn yet.
Yep, Whitten's put a tremendously impressive marker down here. And you're looking at her again on the return leg. This Canadian motoring, really going well.
Well, she's into the final 6 or 7 minutes of racing. Sorry, the final 15, 16 minutes of racing for her.
Clara Hughes of Canada won the gold medal back in 2002 in Manchester. And of course, Clara Hughes is one of the unique athletes who's a gold medal winner in the Winter Olympics as well for the 5,000 metre long track speed skating. But Pooley still on our way out to the turn. Let me once again refresh your memory. The time to beat is 16:48 by Tara Whitten. Is she in touch? Let's have a look at this. The clock's going to come up now. What has the world champion done? No, she's well shy of the pace, so there's work to do here for Pooley in the second half. She's 34 seconds slower than Whitten of Canada at the 14.5-kilometre point. Now then, Chris, is it possible with that wind you can see to pull that back?
Well, I don't think she can. I think Emma Pooley, she's had her peak. She won that world title and she rode courageously on Sunday. And I don't think that she can get in the hunt today. But not a course for her.
No, you are right. We refer to the fact that it is pan flat, and I think a few ripples along the way certainly help her. There are the standings at the midway point. Whitten of Canada leading, Willemsen, New Zealand second, Shaw, well, in the bronze medal position for England. Hoefnagel's in the hunt, and at the moment the world champion's got work to do. That's Pooley. Good riding by young Emma Trott, 7th. So the Canadian here, Whitten flying. There are the rest of the positions for you. 10th that it was for Pooley at the turn. And no other surprises. They're all more or less secure in the positions that we expected according to their seeding position. Back to Whitten here, who really does ride magnificently on the track, and of course, being the World Omnium champion, could be one of the favourites for that discipline in the 2012 Olympics.
Well, I'm sure that somebody will have given a time check from the side of the road. That really must give us some motivation. Fantastic first leg. She doesn't seem to be dying on the way back. Carefully choosing a road surface. Getting pushed around a little bit by the wind.
And this looks like the first competitor who set off today, Helen Devi. It is, so Devi, who was the first of the 28 competitors to start, getting very close now to the finish of this 29-kilometre test against the clock. She's ridden well, and she's held onto her position. Nobody's threatened her. Nobody's even got close to catching her. The rider behind her, of course, was Nyaruri of Kenya. But this will be the benchmark. And let's just underline the fact that it is just a tad shy of 18 miles, this test against the clock. Getting a lot of encouragement from her team car behind, and a generous round of applause as she gets very close to the finish. She swept past the Amity University, and now she's getting to the finish area here in Amity. This will be the marker, the time that we will keep an eye on. Long run for the line, and you can see just behind her, her minute rider. Foreshortens the difference. In fact, it may well be one of the more fancied competitors that's closed in. Here we are, coming up to the line under the gantry. Helen Devi of India completes her test against the clock. And there it is. 47 minutes. Well, it had gone before I could see it, actually, but it was 47 minutes 50, I think it was. As we get back to Whitten, Tara Whitten, who really is pouring on the coals here, doing the ride of her life.
Well, you can see some fatigue starting to come into this now. She's shifting around a bit on the saddle. Cadence has slipped away. She's got a sign there.
Yep.
All the way as far as you can.
It's 10-kilometre mark.
Beautiful, mate.
And here we look at Wendy Hoefenagel. Now, Hoefenagel.
She does look good. She looks balanced on the bike.
Well, Whitten is actually chasing Hoefenagel, so that's going to help Hoefenagel, in particularly if she's getting any roadside checks to tell her how she's doing compared to the Canadian.
Well, it'll be tough now. She's on the stretch now. It's actually behind her.
She was almost 14 seconds slower than Whitten at the far turn.
Julie Shaw just catching her minute woman.
At Shanks, so she's going to pass the gold medal winner for the 3,000-metre individual pursuit here. And I must admit, Shanks does look laboured. There's a contrast here in styles, and Shaw is powering along, looking very powerful indeed.
Well, this is going to be interesting because she's only just catching now as they're fatiguing into this final phase. It does roll a little bit, this course. It isn't exactly pan flat.
Don't think she wants that. Just heave the bottle over the fence. Now then, she doesn't like being caught. Now the old rule applies. You cannot take pace off the rider that has caught you. You have to drop back a regulation distance, but as long as they keep apart, I think that's acceptable.
Well, it might be slightly misleading because the wind is coming from the left, so the New Zealander will be getting a little bit of shelter there, even at that distance.
So Whitten in that crouching aerodynamic style, still looking very, very good indeed. And her sharp start in the first 14.5 Ks is testimony to this performance. I think the bronze medal on the track has galvanised her into action, and she wants a gold as we get back to Willemsen. Willemsen also looking pretty sharp.
Well, she is just off the mark at the turn. It looks the part, that's for sure. You can do. I think there must be a deceptively bumpy surface here because they are moving around the road in order to find the smoothest section.